in the key of B flat. That is the D7, which is so interesting. I promise to be numb, only you are the one. Man, it's so, I can't say enough about it, really. Maybe we're back from a two-parter. Before we went over Dodie's U, we got through the vamp in the verse. Relatively straightforward, if not like crazy intimidating. And then now, to get into the bridge, we alter the vamp a little bit. 1 major 7 to 1 7. Let's take a look at what that's doing. Okay, so we got our B flat major 7 sitting over here. And for the most part, it doesn't affect tension at all, with the exception of the major 7 adding that little bit of a tension kick. This, however, when we go to the dominant 7, when we flat this A and hit a dominant 7 inside of there, something really interesting happened. Like, there's a lot of tension inside of that chord. Where it wants to resolve is much like your F7 over here. And so like the 5-7, this note, this chord, this wants to resolve back to the B flat. If you make the B flat a dominant 7, like this, it actually wants to resolve back to the 4. The reason is this F7 is the 5 of B, where this B flat is the 5 of E flat. It becomes easier to think of these notes here in the E flat context, the key of E flat. And what you end up doing is replacing these rolls with these rolls, and you get the major 7 to E flat, the 2 and the 4 for E flat, and that drives you to want to this part of the song. So you have the 1-7, could almost be considered the 5-7 of the 4, and it drives into that, which is the E flat. I have an asterisk, a slash, and then a colon. Here, the slash is kind of representing 2 different tension levels based off of a key change. So if this chord is understood as in the B flat context, then I would give it an asterisk, which I'll explain in a second. But in the E flat context, I would just give it this colon because it's just like a 5-7, which is exactly what we've been giving these 5-7s. And so it's like, it feels almost like retroactively, once you hit this 4, you understand what that chord was about. Your mind can like backfill and understand its tension in a new context, and that's what that slash is meant to do. Yes. And so why an asterisk here? Well, I adjusted these notes according to that key. If it was functioning as a 5-7, what it would look like. But if we were to look at what it means to be that like B, root 3rd, 5th, and the 7, these 2 notes, they have a flat 5 relationship. And flat 5 is still pretty intense. And so internally having that adds tension in a certain way. But the tension has a purpose and makes sense when you have it in the key of E flat. That's what I'm getting at. If we consult our chart, I say that a root, a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6, or a 1-6 chord has no tension at all. And I have a notation for whenever I add a major 7, that adds a bit of tension. The thing is, I don't say anything about having a major 3rd and a dominant 7 in the same chord. So this, the distance between a major 3rd and a dominant 7, which is that, those happen to have a flat 5 in it. So in this context, whenever I'm going from B flat key center, here's my B flat key center. If I add the dominant 7, I'm actually adding a flat 5 internally inside of it. It's different than like adding a flat 5. Flat 5. The flat 5 adds that dissonance, right? But it also adds intensity inside of it, but in a different kind of way. This is actually going to get really interesting. So let's get into this like 4 chord. So the bridge, I could have, if we go back to here, I probably could have seen this as actually moving to the key of E flat, but I ended up like deciding against that. And it probably works out just fine either direction. But I decided to just stay in the key of B flat. You add the B flat dominant 7 just to get you into the 4. Let's dive into that. What do we got here? We hit a 4. 4 just has a little bit of interest if you're thinking about it in the B flat. And then this 3-7, major 3-7 chord in the key of B flat, that is the D7, which is so interesting. I promise to be numb, only you are the one. Man, it's so, I can't say enough about it, really. Let's look at the 3-7. This 3 dominant 7, we've actually already encountered a major 3-7 chord, and that was in our last analysis of Hallelujah. So in Hallelujah, the really cool chord was this E7. It's a baffled king composing Hallelujah. In the key of C, C, D, E is the 3. Should be a 3 minor 7, but it's a 3 major 7. And that gives you such an interesting motion into the 6th there. And a similar thing is happening here, where you hit the 4, 3 dominant 7, you get to the 1. And to look at that a little bit more, let's draw a little bit. Let's say instead of changing the key, this drives to E flat. And we will write down some more chords. The D7. And this chord is D, F sharp, A, C, 7 there. So in the key of B flat, what are we going to get? The 3. Here is it would be a sharp 5. We're going to see it as a flat 6. And then this is the major 7. And this is the 2. Dot, 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 dot. Okay. Noise. The next interesting one that I want to get to is actually this one. So we get back to the 1-6. So the 3-7 takes us back to the 1. But we're not done yet. We actually want to get back to the 4. And the way Dodie chooses to do that is actually by dropping a flat 5 into the mix of this 1 chord, adding like just a flat 5 to add that dissonance. So the B flat 6 with a flat 5 is going to look like a root, a third. We get this flat 5, which honestly, it's very silly to do an F flat. So we'll just say E, and everything else is golden. Cha. Here's our flat 5, causing dissonance and interest. Well, it's trying to get to the E flat. And so you have this F, E, E flat. This is called chromaticism. And so if we have our B flat 6, we have our F here, we go to the E to add the flat 5. And so that is a nice drop down, to the 4. And then a 5, which predictably just 4. 5 of B flat. Then we've got our B flat 7. And we're going to do the same trick that we did in the vamp to get back to another go at this kind of bridge chord. So, and the 7. The dominant, pull us back to the 4. Here's the 1. Then we get back to the 4 here. And then we do a 4 minor. 4 minor, it's in there. And then that leads us back to the 1. All right, so in case you missed it from Hallelujah, we can tackle this minor 4, which I'm giving an asterisk. It's an ironic asterisk, I guess. All right, so now we're looking at a 1-6, B flat 6 here, or an E flat, which is a 4, and you get this 4-6 root, and you just get the one little tension there. When you turn this into a minor, you do that by turning that 6 into a flat 6. And in the key of B flat, that gives you this like extra tension. So in all reality, the minor 4 would be equal to like the 5. Yep. Supposed to do it up here. 4 minor, B flat. And so I kind of really love this because it's you go like B flat 6, you drop down the 5 toward the 4, and then minor it, and that gets you, it also has like, there's 2 different chromatic lines to go back and forth between the 1 and 4, and it's just so lovely, and it just occurs the one time, and that's it, and it's just great. Gold star to Dodie, just stellar. Check out Dodie if you don't know Dodie. She's great, and she's been doing a lot more since the past 8 years. So it's like she didn't peak here. This song just a special little song for me. There's a link below, and it will show you. You can see this progress chart, see where we're doing with the charity goal. I will try to keep that up to date. And in that same spot, you click on that link, and you can actually buy Beyond Beginner Guitar. It's meant to take you from vaguely understanding the guitar to like being totally confident and knowledgeable about it. And you can go and like find the purchase and use the promo code to, get the appropriate pricing on it at this moment. Yep. Crypto option. You can give that a shot. Click on that link, share that link, however it goes. Okay, I'll see you in the next video, if the next video happens. Enjoy just being present with the people that you love the most this time of year. I know I'm gonna do that. Okay. Bye. Bottom dee 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 doo. Doon doon down down. Doon da down. Adds intensity inside of it, but in a different kind of way. This is probably where like my particular music theory like still needs like massaging, or let me tell you a little bit something about theories and scientific understanding. Reality is it's infinite. Like there's all this stuff. If you try to like box something in with a theory or an explanation or a formula, you can get good. You can have a nice little formula that like encapsulates some of it, and you can expand that formula to even more appropriately capture that infinity, but you will never capture the infinity no matter what your formula is anyways. I think music theory is due for a update a little bit, but it'll never be totally encapsulated because music is one of those infinite kind of things. Anyways, this is what helps me out.